Because you can't take your litigation helmet off, first. You can't litigate all day and fight and battle and represent one person. And then for the hour that, two people come before you, turn all those feelings and thoughts off. It's just a mindset.
Hello and welcome to the Attorney Post, where we give you the inside scoop with top attorneys in their field. And now, here's our host, Justin West.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Attorney Post, where we discuss what's going on in various facets of the law with lawyers at the top of their game to help you navigate the various ins and outs of legal fields and jurisdictions. Because, as I always say, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. Today, I'm joined with Scott Levin, and he is the eponymous owner of Scott Levin Esquire CDFA, which is also San Diego Mediation, Divorce, and Family Law. As always, we're going to jump over and take a look at Scott's site. So let's do that. I am showing you the wrong screen, because every so often I do that. There we go. Screen number 2. It is sandiegofamilylawyer.net. That is sandiegofamilylawyer.net. As always, we'll have a link in the description down below. You can also reach Scott at 858-255-1321. That's 858-255-1321. We're going to read really quickly from our sponsors today because we have a limited time for this podcast. Our first sponsor today is Groove Funnels. You love spending $5,000 to $10,000 to build a brand new website. You love paying $200 to $300 a month to host on a platform that allows you to sell your products to potential customers and clients. Then by all means, keep doing whatever it is you're doing. But if you're like me, you hate that. And that's why I personally recommend Groove Funnels or Groove Pages, the all-new all-in-one funnel website sales platform from internet marketing legend Mike Philsame. Visit theattorneypost.com/groove to sign up today for free and build a complete website at no cost that allows you to sell products to clients. It's basically an all-in-one Swiss Army knife that replaces your web page, your funnels, your blog, your video, your sales cart, affiliate, webinar. Basically, it's a Swiss Army knife, and there is no cost to get started. Completely free. Visit theattorneypost.com/groove. Our second sponsor at the top of the hour today is National ERC. You may have noticed that recently the world went through a pandemic. Many businesses were forced to shut down and had reduced hours, reduced supply chains, various interruptions, and of course suffered from reduced revenue in 2020 and 2021. What you may not know is that Congress recently passed the CARES Act, which allocated $400 billion in stimulus funds for small businesses that never needs to be paid back. This is not a loan like the PPP or Paycheck Protection Program. This is essentially free money for your business that can be spent in whatever way you think makes the most sense right now. Right now, National ERC is helping small businesses get the maximum amount of money that they can, and you can calculate and see how much you can get back by visiting nationalerc.org. The average small business that they work with receives over $200,000 to reinvest in their business that never needs to be repaid. The calculator is completely free, and there's never any fee unless they secure funding for you. They've helped over $1.3 billion get back in the hands of small business owners like yourself. Visit nationalerc.org. All right, that was a mouthful. Got through it quickly. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing good. Well, Scott is, as I said, the owner of San Diego Mediation, Divorce, and Family Law. He is titled Chief Peacekeeper. We'll ask him about that in a little bit. He's distinguished himself as a family law attorney and certified divorce financial analyst from the San Diego from San Diego Divorce, Mediation, and Family Law. A graduate of the University of Virginia School of Law, Scott has dedicated over a decade to law practices at major international firms before pivoting to mediation to prioritize the well-being of his clients over the adversarial nature of traditional litigation. Recognizing the importance of peaceful transitions, he exclusively practices family law mediation and has even secured a trademark for that term, Chief Peacekeeper. Esteemed by peers and legal professionals like Levin's, commitment to ethics, honesty, and professionalism stand out in the California legal community. I realized I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name. Is it Levin or Levin?
It's Levin.
Okay, I'm saying it right. That's good. Well, I tried to get through the introduction very quickly there because, again, I want to be respectful of your time. I'm sure I missed out on a lot of things. So, Scott, my first question to you is just this. What did I miss? What do you want people to know about who you are and what you do personally, associations, etc.?
Yeah, I'm a family law attorney that helps people through mediation. So couples hire me together. That's the barrier to entry for mediation. So I work all over California. Anyone in California can engage me. A couple would hire me together. The three of us would work collaboratively as a team to figure out solutions and explore ideas and problem solving and creative, collaboration. The work that we do is all about problem solving. So we're not, talking about necessarily how we got here or what happened in 2013 or what mom did what to whom. It's all about here's where we are, and we have a way of navigating this process that allows us to protect our kids, protect our assets, protect our mental well-being, limit stress, and just get through the BS and figure things out. So my clients engage me together. We work together to figure out the solutions, and then I execute on those solutions for them by drafting and filing all their court paperwork and legal documentation. I do that as a neutral, so I don't represent one person or the other. I help facilitate the negotiation, and then I do all the court interactions so that they don't have to go to court or worry about that whole process.
Okay, well, that's really kind of neat. So what sets you apart from a lot of other people? And tell me about the title Chief Peacekeeper.
Yeah, Chief Peacekeeper, it's interesting. So a client of mine back in 2012 was a member of one of the Native American tribes. He was on the tribal council at the time of this tribe in San Diego County. And when we were signing the settlement agreement and all the forms at the end of the process, they had some pretty challenging issues, and he was, they were both very appreciative of the work that we had done to figure out amicable solution that they could both live with, that protects their kids. And he said, you're my chief peacekeeper. And I said, oh, can I steal that from you? And he said, yes, of course. So that's when I started kind of going by that nickname, Chief Peacekeeper, and it kind of embodies what I'm about. I am a family law attorney. I have litigated cases. But as my kids have gotten older, I stopped litigating in 2012 by choice. I wanted to stand for something. I wanted, to be able to give back to society in my little way here, while also making a living. So I think that it's really important for family law attorneys. A lot of litigators, quote unquote, also mediate. I think that it's pretty rare to have a full-time mediator and not someone that takes litigation cases. I think that people are really much more likely to be successful in this process if they're working with someone with a certain set of qualifications. So what those are to me, and of course I'm biased because I meet these qualifications, are one, you want to have a family law attorney. Two, that person ideally will have litigation experience. Three, they no longer litigate, so they're full-time mediators. Four, you should be a certified divorce financial analyst because they don't teach math in law school. So that's a qualification. It's a financial designation that isn't impossible to get, but it does prove that you have the ability to think about numbers and figures, and you understand things, those things in the world of divorce. So once you're dealing with those, kind of set of qualifications, you're really on the right track. And then it's just about, finding someone that, you feel comfortable with.
Gotcha. Do you think there's a risk of a conflict of interest or anything if the attorney is a litigator and a mediator? Like, would they potentially wind up favoring one side over the other? Is there, ethics in place that would prevent that from ever happening? Why favor somebody that it mediates exclusively?
Because you can't take your litigation helmet off, first. You can't litigate all day and fight and battle and represent one person, and then for the hour that, two people come before you, turn all those feelings and thoughts off. It's just a mindset. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's kind of an ethical thing to me, pick a lane. If you want to mediate, it's a specialty, it's a niche, there's skill to it, mediate. But don't mediate on the side, for a money grab. That's kind of my perspective. The third thing is, if you are hiring a litigator as your mediator, you're on the litigation timeline. Ask a family law attorney what their next 10 days look like. They are scheduled out every second of every day. They have emergency hearings in the morning. They have calls every night from clients that are talking, craziness, and that they need to go file this emergency petition. You're on the litigation schedule if you're with that person, and you're subjected to their timeline. One of the keys to mediation is that you're in control, and you automatically are losing some of that control if you hire, in my opinion, a litigation attorney to mediate your case.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So let me ask you a very general question. What got you into law, Scott? Were you the kid that just knew when you grew up you were going to be an attorney, or did you kind of stumble into this? And how did you get into family law and then mediation in particular? Because I know that I read in your intro that I wrote earlier, that you got started working with some larger firms. So tell me about your legal journey.
Yeah, I mean, I was living I went to NYU and for college, 97 to 2001. I was living in New York. I was teaching tennis after I for that first little bit after I graduated. I lost my job due to some horrific actions, on 2000, September 11th. So, I kind of was my dad was like, hey, if you can't keep a tennis teaching job, maybe that's the world telling you something. So yeah, I just kind of started applying to law school, got into some good schools, wanted to, kind of pursue that graduate degree. So I didn't necessarily, grow up with a passion for the law per se, but, it kind of just was a natural fit for kind of where I was headed in life. I worked as a civil litigator at a big giant firm for a number of years when I first got out of law school. And I wanted to go out on my own. I wanted to kind of be in control of my own schedule. I wanted to go to kids' soccer games. I wanted to be home for Halloween. I wanted to just, kind of have that work-life balance. And it's hard to do that when you work for a giant firm where, you're just another kind of number to them at that early stage. So, family law was a natural fit. It was a kind of because of my personal history, it was something that resonated with me. And kind of just went from there.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've been practicing for a while. You've had I'm sure, some ups and downs.
This year.
What's that?
20 years this year.
Yeah, 20 years. Congratulations on that, by the way. That's amazing. I've been running my own company for about 20 years as well, but I've only been incorporated for the last 15 or so. So I'm not quite there, I guess, technically. But it's a huge milestone. It's a huge achievement. So congratulations on that. In your 20 years, Scott, I'm sure you've had some ups and downs, and I'm a firm believer that sometimes the best teaching moments in life are failure. And I'm sure you've had a couple of moments in your career that have felt like failures. Maybe you failed to get paperwork in the right time. Maybe you were litigating at the time and somebody said the wrong thing or said, whatever it was. But can you tell my listeners about a time in your practice of law when you stumbled, when you had a failure, but what did you learn from it? How do you carry that forward to help your clients?
Yeah, the last litigation case I ever took, I felt that I felt that my client and her, soon to be ex-spouse were both harmed by the litigation system. So essentially, she wanted to prohibit during the divorce from his new girlfriend seeing, kind of spending time around the kids. So we spent a lot of money on both sides, doing getting a hearing, having the judge rule on that, limiting that person's access. It took a lot of the custody time away from dad, which might not have been a great thing for the kids. It resulted in my client having 28 days a month with the kids, very little personal time, very little time to kind of focus on, what her future career or, kind of next steps for employment, personal things. Inevitably, or not inevitably, I guess, but about 4 or 5 months later, she had a new significant other. The other side dragged us to court, asked the judge to rule in the same way to prohibit that new person from interacting with the kids. And, everyone spent about $45,000 on nothing that had to do with the case, nothing that had to do with the divorce, just a total distraction. And kind of an S show. And I just kind of thought to myself, this is just not the way that I want to earn a living. Spending 2.5 or 3 years, dragging a couple through a divorce process that inevitably is not going to be tried. Very few cases in California are tried. They almost all settle. So doing the dance of litigation, but to settle in the end, I wanted to pursue a path where I could help people resolve these things up front and get the benefits of that upfront negotiation. Save your time, save your money, reduce the stress, protect your kids, stay aligned as co-parents. Now, that's not for everyone, because you have to be willing to listen to the other parent, the other partner. You have to be willing to negotiate and hear them out. You have to be willing to listen, not just listen for or and watch for their lips to stop moving, like I'm sure you are, Justin, for me, my lips to stop moving, but actually hear the words that are coming out of their mouth. And that's not for everyone. I mean, it's not for 100% of people, but the benefits are so impactful if you can achieve a mediated settlement.
Gotcha. No, that's good. And I'm doing a little bit more than, watching for your lips to stop. I can listen for the stopping too, right? So I'm multi-talented. Well, I'm sure, Scott, you've had some good successes too. You shared one of those with us at the very beginning. That's where you got your title, Chief Peacekeeper. But can you let me know about one or two of the other times when you have just knocked it out of the park? I see a bunch of Louisville Sluggers, I think, in the background there. There, you got a thing for baseball. I'm sure you've had a couple of cases, a couple of times, a couple of mediation sessions where things just went amazing. What's one of the times you're most proud of?
Yeah, I mean, I just had a client, I just had a couple here that were signing their settlement agreement just a few minutes ago. And, mom in this case said, thank you for making this process as easy on us and me emotionally as it possibly could be. I hear that a lot. If you look at the reviews that people leave me online, there's a lot of gratitude, and I'm very grateful that I'm in a position to help people, genuinely help people. Now, my work involves a lot of strategizing when people aren't there. I need to, when I say something or offer or a thought or give an option or an idea, I need to present that idea in a way that I think is going to be most impactful and intentional for the two people that are sitting in front of me. And people have different people have different personalities. They take suggestions differently. Every case is a little bit different. They're all like snowflakes. So, a lot of my job is to think ahead of time, to anticipate, and to be creative and customize the way that I'm speaking to the two people in front of me, and not just to make it boilerplate. And so I get to do a lot of that kind of game planning, and it's just been very successful.
Gotcha. So when you are mediating, how do you approach a situation where, one party is more dominating, more controlling during the mediating session? That's obviously what you're there for, but what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If one person is kind of, I guess I'd have to kind of understand what the question is particular, but there are people that are that try to kind of run the meeting, and I need to give the other person the ability to kind of get their perspective out and to have the confidence and the capability of kind of speaking their mind. Sometimes I advise that people get a consultant to help them kind of give their perspectives if it's really, kind of overwhelming. One of my rules, though, is to kind of let people know what their rights are, what their obligations are pursuant to the law, and to make decisions that are in light of that. So it just kind of depends, but personality types differ, the way that people approach this process differ, and all those sort of situations come into this office.
Gotcha. I'm sure we've seen the rise of a lot of, for lack of a better term, non-traditional family groups and family arrangements, from LGBT families, blended families, etc. How has that, over the last 20 years, that rise or that shift, how's that impacted what you do? And do you think there's any emerging trends in family law along those lines or other lines that are going to impact things in the future and be impactful to things in the future?
Yeah, I mean, blended families is a big thing that comes up, really post-divorce. People get divorced and then they meet new people. If you're in your, late 30s, your 40s, your 50s, who are those other people going to be? Well, they're likely going to have, families of their own. Or maybe not likely, but statistically, people that you meet, new partners, new relationships are going to bring those dynamics into play. So people oftentimes will come and see me and we'll talk those things through. One of the things that we do in mediation that, usually doesn't happen in litigation because they're just kind of trying to deal with the nuts and bolts is, what rules, if any, do you guys want to put in place for introducing your kids to new partners in the future? So that is part of the discussion that we have in my office is in mediation. Do you want to require that a relationship lasts for a certain period of time before your kids will be introduced? Do you want to have the opportunity to meet that new person before an introduction to the kids would take place? Do you want to require that, the youngest child reaches a certain age before an introduction could even be made? Or do you guys just, kind of trust each other, or not trust each other, but can't come to any, specific terms for, like, putting requirements or rules in place? Those are the sort of kind of thoughtful discussions that we have in mediation, that, in court you just don't get to, because, you're citing code and, rule 4.53b, or Jenkins versus Smith, 1983, Your Honor. I mean, these are kind of the plain discussions that you can have during a mediated settlement discussion, that allows you to create an agreement that is customized to you and your kids.
Gotcha. I'm sure what you do could be emotionally taxing, particularly on you, but obviously on the people that you're working with as well. How do you manage to stay objective and avoid being swayed by emotions? And what resources or support do you recommend for individuals going through a particularly contentious divorce?
I think the first thing is, I think that you need to try to stay in control. The way that you do that is to try mediation first. But no matter how you proceed, mediation or litigation, you can have consultants that give you that empower you. So in mediation, many clients have consulting attorneys that they get guidance from, or they game plan with, or they get strategy and ideas from a person that's just looking after their interests, but then they're still using the mediation process to negotiate. A certified, divorce financial analyst, someone that's a financial expert that can game plan with you, not just on, how a settlement proposal or spousal and child support will work for day one, but kind of looking forward, like, how does this look for you 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? Also, a coach can be really empowering. Someone that you're talking with, that's keeping you focused on the bottom line. You don't want to call your attorney and vent about, emotional things at $600 an hour. That's not doing you or them any good. You want to kind of have an outlet for those things that keep you calm, but at a more, at a cost that, where you have a professional that knows what they're doing, but not an attorney. The attorney is not there for you to kind of unload on. That's kind of a dangerous, process for you to kind of rely on your attorney for your emotional outlet. So, whether it's a divorce coach, a CDFA, a consulting attorney, or a representative attorney, getting informed and knowledgeable from those professionals in and around the divorce process, will allow you to be empowered. And you need to do your best, though, to stay in control. And that's why when you go on the court timeline, you file a case and you start the litigation process, before you've tried mediation or explored it as an option, you're right away are losing control. So, you're now on the court timeline, you're now on the court process, you're hiring attorneys that are going to be doing things that you don't understand or can't anticipate, and you won't, grasp the impact of their kind of actions. So, staying in control is the biggest piece of advice I could give people.
I mean, that's not bad advice in general. We're coming up on our hard stop, so I want to be very respectful of your time. I'm going to jump over really quickly and take a look at your site again. We'll read from our final sponsor, and then I'm going to ask you the 2 closing questions that I ask all my guests. I'll give those to you now so you can percolate on them for a minute. Question number 1, if you can go back in time, meet young Scott, give him some advice fresh out of law school. What advice would you give yourself, and why, other than the obvious, which is buy a lot of Bitcoin, hold it till 60K, right? And question number 2.
Not buy it at 60K would be one of the things I'd tell myself.
Question number 2 is, if I gave you my magic pen and this pen lets you strike a law from the books, edit a law that's on the books, or add a new law to the books, what law would you change and why? Percolate on that. While you're doing that, we're going to jump over here and take a look again. I am talking with Scott Levin, of San Diego Mediation, Divorce, and Family Law. You can visit him online at a wonderfully easy to remember website, sandiegofamilylawyer.net. That's sandiegofamilylawyer.net. If you need a mediator and you are in the California, especially San Diego area, Scott seems like he would be a wonderful resource for you. He's got some amazing reviews. Lots of people very, very happy. Both sides seem to be very happy with Scott and the work that he does. So you definitely would do well to speak with him if you have questions about divorce and mediation. Our final sponsor today is Rank with News. Is not being in the news regularly costing your firm or your company credibility and visibility? Do you feel that getting found in Google search is more about dumb luck than it is science? What if there was a guaranteed way to get your law firm or your business featured in major national publications like Yahoo News, Bloomberg, Forbes, Reuters, and others, and see those articles rank locally, even nationally, sometimes in as little as 8 hours or less for major competitive terms that people are actually searching for? Well, what else would you need to know? Rank with News is simply the most powerful way to hit page 1 in under 2 weeks safely, organically, and permanently. This is functionally guaranteed SEO or search engine optimization on steroids, ranking quickly and sticking. If you're tired of poor visibility for your business, visit rankwithnews.com to learn more and book a time to speak with a specialist about featuring your firm or your business in major national 8-figure traffic sites that can launch you and your business to page 1 in a matter of hours and help you dominate your local marketplace. Get media exposure, rank higher in Google, build credibility, and win more customers and clients with rankwithnews.com. All right, so question number 1, Scott. We go back in time magically. We meet a young Scott, and you're able to give yourself, maybe 2 sentences worth of advice. You lean over to yourself really quickly without totally disrupting the space-time continuum. What do you say to yourself?
Maybe get a hair transplant, given this hairline that I'm seeing. Probably transitioning to mediation. I litigated for a decade and I've mediated since 2012. So, probably transitioning earlier, to just get this kind of career kind of blossoming, even earlier. And so I could help more people.
That's a good piece of advice. I don't know about the hair plugs, but the other advice, the mediation advice is good advice. Question number 2. I have a magic pen. It's free shout out to kansasmonks.org. This is from a monastery in Atchison, Kansas, which is actually where I live. And this magical pen seems to have been blessed by one of the fathers there because it apparently can edit laws that are on the books, strike laws from the books, or change laws. If I were to loan you my pen, Scott, and you could make one change, what would you change and why?
Yeah, this will never happen, but in California, but if the state or any state, out there, family law is a state by state issue, would require people to mediate before they could access the litigation system. I think that a whole lot of people would probably resolve their issues, even those that don't think that they could, without having to, ever, start the litigation. So, require that people mediate and seek resolution, and then if that's not possible, go ahead and litigate the heck out of it. I think that would be, really impactful, I think, on a whole lot of folks.
Random question, and I'm trying to be as respectful of your time, but this is one that I was really curious about. Have you ever had a couple that you were mediating with and they resolved their issues and decided they weren't going to go through with a divorce?
Yeah, that does happen. That does definitely happen. It's happens a couple times a year, probably. So, I'm all for it. What I tell people, Justin, is I'm not Mr. Divorce. I don't want people to divorce. I think oftentimes, people have harder financial lives after the divorce. An old a friend of mine that litigates family law cases. We have a lot of friends that are litigators, so I'm not anti-litigator. But we were having lunch a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I have a client with a really nice house in La Jolla, which is a really kind of a affluent community in San Diego. He said, I'm going to get them 2 really nice condos in Pacific Beach, which is kind of a one step down in terms of affluency in the community. So, that big shiny house goes to 2 smaller condos. I mean, that's kind of like, what can happen in family law. I guess, yeah, that's kind of what I had to say there.
That's fine. It's just neat to see that that actually can be the case. So, it gives hope for everybody, even if you're at this phase and you think you need a mediator.
like I said, I don't want people, I'm not promoting divorce, but if it's going to happen, I just want people to do it in the healthiest way for themselves.
I think that's a good way to put it, actually. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. It's a very good way to put it. Well, Scott, thank you very much for your time. Again, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're actually slightly over where we're supposed to be. So,
Justin, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the Attorney Post. I looked, I've read your stuff. I've watched your, some of the videos and podcasts. I think you're doing great work, man. Congratulate you as well.
well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. As always, this is the Attorney Post. I've been chatting with Attorney Scott Levin of the Chief Peacekeeper of San Diego Divorce, Mediation, and Family Law. As always, linked down below in the description. As always, this podcast does not constitute legal advice, even though we are talking about legal matters. Should you have a legal issue, you should always seek the advice and counsel of a competent attorney or mediator in your area who focuses on the matter you need help with. Obviously, if you live especially in the San Diego area, you're looking at a divorce, you need a mediator, Scott seems like he's got a great head on his shoulders and will be a wonderful resource. So I strongly recommend you reach out to him if you are in need of his services. Hopefully, those of you listening are not, because obviously nobody wants to see that. But obviously, if you need the services, he's there. So feel free to use them. This has been the Attorney Post. As always, if you're listening to this on YouTube, we always appreciate a like, a subscribe, and a share. If you're on any other podcast repositories that are out there, a comment, a rate, a review. Also, if you know someone going through the divorce mediation process who could use a competent mediator, feel free to share this with them, because that's one of the ways that you can help people, by putting them in contact with people that are at the top of their game. Because, as I always say, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any, and the same goes for them. Until next time, this is Justin. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.